This is Roberta Foster, and welcome to today's edition of the Author's Corner, brought to you by KNEO 91.7 FM The Word. And today I welcome back to Author's Corner Shelley Shepard Gray, and she has written a novel called Unforgiven. It's published by Revell, a division of Baker Publishing Group, and she'll tell you more about how to find the book at the end of the program. Let me tell you just a little bit about Shelley. She is a New York Times and USA Today best-selling author of more than 100 books, including Her Heart's Desire, Her Only Wish, and Her Secret Hope. She's a two-time winner of the Holt Medallion and a Carroll Award finalist, and lives in Ohio, where she gets to write full-time. And we get the benefit of that by talking with Shelley today about her book, Unforgiven. Thank you so much for joining me today, Shelley.
Oh, thank you, Roberta. It's such a pleasure to visit with you again. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about the summary of your story so we can get kind of a jumping off point of finding out more about the book.
Oh, I'll be happy to. So first thing listeners might want to know is that this book is set in a real place. It's Crittenden County, Kentucky. And for people who are interested, since y'all are in Missouri, it is just right near Paducah, and right on the river, the border, very close to St. Louis. And there is an Amish community there. I have visited there several times, but it's fairly different, and it's exactly what one might think if you put a small group of Amish in the middle of a Kentucky holler.
Oh,
so it's kind of dark. It is not a very affluent area. There's lots of paths. If you think of some plywood that you whitewash white and you hand write the names of the streets, that's what you'd see. So it's a wonderful place to visit. I have to say they have wonderful tomatoes, but it is also a kind of a fun location to set a little bit of an Amish suspense romance, which is what Unforgiven is. Just real quickly, in a nutshell, Unforgiven focuses on 5 people, 2 different love stories, but the main characters are all recovering from some incidents that had happened years ago. And the main heroine and hero are former Amish. They're not exactly shunned. They're living in a kind of a gray area between being accepted and unaccepted. And I just love the idea of focusing on some different things in an Amish romance that, you know, not every. Sometimes people want everybody in an Amish society to just be wonderful, forgiving, accepting, generous. You know, they don't gossip and so forth. But people are people, and in this particular story, all these people have been through a lot, and not always their best traits are showing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's certainly, as I was reading about the book, it indicates that this is a story that is about forgiveness, redemption, and moving on from the past. And so there's a lot that can be written about with just those descriptive words.
I agree. They were some fun and challenging themes to go on. Something that's kind of funny about me as a writer is I almost insist on having a firm title before I get too deep in the book. Sometimes it's a little hard for a publisher to understand that. They're like, well, we haven't really decided on the title, and I'm like, well, I would sure appreciate if we could work on that, and because I love to set the themes around the title, and Unforgiven just was a perfect title for this novel. You know, and one of the hero in the book, his name is Seth Zimmerman, and his backstory is that he has been in prison he was in prison for 2 years for accidentally killing someone, and he didn't have a lawyer. He was confused. You could name the reasons that he didn't just get put on probation, but he did serve time. And it's funny, I did ask my Amish friends, I'm like, well, if someone goes to prison, are they automatically shunned? And they were like, no. Okay. If you ask forgiveness, and especially given the situation, he wasn't a mass murderer. He was involved in something, and the person accidentally died. Yes, he would not be shunned. But I kept thinking, Roberta, that a person that's been in prison for 2 years, it's got to change you. Right. And you aren't going to come out the same person that you were before. So it's kind of by his choice, for Seth's choice, to be a little bit unforgiven, I guess. He's not quite ready to jump in with 2 feet into the Amish community again. He needs to be a little distant.
And we're going to find out about the second lead character in this story in just a moment. I'm talking with Shelley Shepard Gray about her book, Unforgiven. It's published by Revell, a division of Baker Publishing Group, and you're listening to Author's Corner, and I'm Roberta Foster. And so you have another prominent character in your book called Tabitha Yoder, and she is actually an individual who has gone through a divorce. Again, not a common topic amongst Amish books, but is that something that is, we hate to say this, but is it something that seems to be happening more amongst the Amish communities with the pressures of the world, or is this still a very rare occurrence amongst the Amish communities to have a divorcee?
It's my understanding, at least for the Amish that I've talked to, it's still not accepted, at all. Okay. So if you're Amish, you don't get divorced. Now, that's to say, some Amish, and again, I've talked with ladies very frankly, and it's not to say that every marriage is a happy one. I'm not saying this happens often, but they all had known someone, different people who maybe their marriage did unravel. The husband and wife did not really choose to live together at all, but they might have lived separately, maybe separately in the house, maybe separately on the property, maybe separately entirely, but they would never officially get divorced. Okay. But I just wasn't willing to go there. One, I needed Tabitha to fall in love again, and I didn't want to make it easy. Say where he got in a fight and he died or something, and she was a widow. I wanted her to have had to divorce, and the reason is because she had been abused. And so she had ended up in the hospital. It was not the first time she had been beaten. And a lawyer comes in and pretty much says, you have a choice. I can help you move on. And Tabitha doesn't take this choice easily, except she just knows if she goes back, she's not going to end up in the hospital again. Right. She's not going to survive, and so she chooses to live, and because of that, she does get divorced. In a lot of Amish communities, I think she would probably might have been shunned for this. But again, the ladies that I talk to, and they know I make things up, so I'm always throwing things out. What do you think could happen? And they all really thought about it, and they said, I don't know if she could be easily accepted, but they all to a T were like, we don't know of anyone that would look down on her. They might not feel comfortable accepting her, because it's just not done. It's foreign to them. Nobody really knows exactly what to do, but nobody is going to want to cause her hurt again. So that was Tabitha's story. So that both of my characters had some big backstory,
yes.
and I wanted to respect those, but also to have the book continue on, which is why it's a suspense. It's no secret. You find out in one of the first chapters that Tabitha's ex-husband, even though he is divorced from her, he does not like that he was the loser on this battle, and he stalks her. And so there's always this edge of he hasn't forgiven her for divorcing him, and she has to get stronger. And does she need to be by herself, or is she going to start relying on the community that hasn't turned their backs, but they haven't embraced her with open arms? Yeah. There's a lot of gray areas. It was exciting to write, but I will say that there were some days my husband would be like, "You look kind of worn out." And I said, "I feel worn out." These characters are going through a lot. So
you're carrying their emotional baggage with you.
I know. I need some puppies or kittens or something to wander in, at least for a day. So,
well, in the information provided to me, you had answered the question about why you included the issue of abuse, and I think you were commenting that you want to make sure that people that are reading this know that there is help for them.
I am constantly reminded by readers. I visit a lot of libraries and chat with people. I do many chats online or all kinds of things and interact. And at least every couple of months, we'll be talking about one of my books, and someone will mention, "Oh, well, I was in your book helped me, Shelley, because I was in a really bad situation." Or, and it just, I'm constantly reminded that this happens maybe more than people think, maybe more than I originally had thought. And many of these ladies have been very honest, saying it wasn't easy to leave. It wasn't easy to move on, whether they were abused, say, by someone in their family or in a relationship, whether they were just dating or married. So I have a feeling there's just a wealth of opportunities. I know there's many people that are trained in helping someone, but if a person picks up my book and it gives them maybe that little nudge that they're looking for, that would be a blessing to me. I write books for people to enjoy. That is my primary goal. But if there is a better meaning, then I think that would be a wonderful thing.
Well, today I've been talking with Shelley Shepard Gray. She's written the novel Unforgiven. How can people find out more about your book and others that you've written, Shelley? Oh,
I have a website. It's www.shelleyshepherdgray.com, and I'm also on Instagram at Shelley S. Gray. I am still on Facebook. I post regularly, and I also have a little online Facebook group called Shelley Shepard Gray's Buggy Bunch, and it's very easy to join, and I post regularly there and give lots of things away. So and if you can't see me online, you'll probably see me in person. I think last year I did 20 or 25 library visits. So I love to connect to readers. I write books for readers, and nothing makes me happier than to interact with them.
So one more time, the book is Unforgiven, written by Shelley Shepard Gray, and we thank Revell, a division of Baker Publishing Group, for providing a copy of the book for us today. Shelley, it's been a pleasure chatting with you once again.
Oh, thank you so much, Roberta. It's just been my pleasure. I hope you have a wonderful summer. Thank you.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. And if you'd like to hear this interview again, you can now find it on your favorite podcast platform or through kneo.org. This is Roberta Foster on the Author's Corner. Join me again next time.